This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock has tips to protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report phishing, and update the software on your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, let LifeLock alert you to suspicious uses of your personal information. LifeLock also fixes identity theft, guaranteed or your money back. Stay smart, safe, and protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
If you live in the year 1870 and you're about to get surgery, you live in a small town and there is this new idea that says there are these microscopic objects. They're called bacteria. They lead to infection and death. You can get rid of these things if you wash your hands. Half the town's like, that's really crazy. We know that people die because of bad spirits. And so I want to propose to the world right now that there is a new idea floating about town. And it's this, that we are the first generation who won't die.
Shawn French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time. I confirmed it. A whole society determined society.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Determined Society. I'm your host, Shawn French. And before I introduce today's guest, please go ahead and hit follow on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and let us know what you loved about today's guest. So today I have with us a longevity expert, a man who has set out to literally say, don't die. He's created the Don't Die Summit and the Blueprint. I have with us Netflix own Bryan Johnson. What's up, brother?
Hey, good to see you.
It's so good to see you, man. It's so good to see you. I've seen so many things from you. I feel like I already know you.
How do I match up in real life?
Well, dude, you're as handsome as ever. Okay. and I'm sitting over here, you know, looking at probably the most in shape individual on the face of this earth.
I mean, what does this look like from your vantage point when you see what I post and the doc? Like, what goes through your mind?
I would say initial, to be fair, like, oh my God, that's a lot, right? It's a lot. But then when I peeled back the onion a little bit, I was really starting to see the mission, right? The mission of like, hey, we can reverse the aging process and we can have more time on this earth with the ones that we love. And I adore the fact that you've pretty much turned yourself into a guinea pig to help society get healthier. Yeah.
You know, I need to find a new word besides guinea pig. I would say it's like such a common phrase. Mm-hmm. I think of myself more as an explorer, you know, like Ernest Shackleton style. But I need to figure out how to bridge from guinea pig to Shackleton. What do your friends think of what I'm doing?
Dude, of you? I mean, everybody's pretty much blown away, man. I mean, they're very excited about this episode being recorded and going out, because what I think you've done is create an undercurrent of what everybody really wants, right? Everybody wants more time on this earth and nobody wants to really get sick. But I think the big disconnect, Bryan, is, you know, this one thing, there's many things that stuck with me, but one comment that you made on your show was, I used to eat with my mind and now I eat with my body. I'm like, holy shit, hold on a second. Yeah. What does that actually mean? Because, you know, when you look at that, it causes for a different action, right? And in my circle, at least, they're very intrigued and very excited. Now, I know you've caught a lot of hate, you know, I mean, you know that you've talked about it openly, and I kind of find it comical, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. You know, what's the best burn one of your friends has made of me?
None of my friends have burned anything of you, dude. Not one. I watched the documentary with my wife.
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
And she's like, wow, that's a lot. She goes, but hey, can we just do some of this?
Yeah.
Because like, we can't set up a lab in our house. And I'm like, I get it, you know, but for my circle, there's been no burns on you. Everybody's just intrigued.
Yeah, Shawn, I'm impressed that you picked up that one line, because you correctly identified the essence of this entire thing in that one line.
Thank you. Yeah.
You saw it. Yeah. I think it zips by most people because it's such an absurd thought, and it's like weird, and it's not quite understandable. So yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, walk the audience through that though, right? Because what does that actually, we can say it, right? But I'm also curious to dive deeper into that because I've made a lot of improvements lately, but there's still a ton I can do because we're emotional beings, right? So for me, if I'm happy, I want to eat. I want to celebrate. If I'm sad, I want to eat because I'm down. So, but that's all mental, and you have disconnected from your mind.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. At the most basic layer, every single one of us needs to decide what to do next. So in this next second, what are you going to do? And right now, you and I are having a conversation, and therefore it means that when I'm engaged in a conversation, there are social norms that I'm present, that, roughly 1 to 2 seconds after you speak, I should speak. And when I speak, I should speak for a certain duration of time before it's too much. And then I should stop speaking. And then you should speak. And then, if there's some point where I need to correct something you're saying, maybe I can make a change in that interaction to say, I'm going to interrupt what you said. And I'm also going to apologize because when interrupting, you have broken a norm and you need to compensate. It's like, if you start just peeling back the layers of what do you do second to second, and then you try to explain why does that thing happen, you can then become a detective and start unpacking all of the games we play in society. Right? Like you've got a podcast, right? And you do a podcast because podcasts achieve certain goals of status and power and wealth and whatever the case may be. And so Don't Die is basically, I'm just asking this really basic question. As an intelligent being on planet Earth in this part of the galaxy in 2025, what is intelligence? And what does intelligence tell you to do next? That's entirely the question. And so it's really that simple. It's what do you do with your conscious existence? Now, like most people don't think about that question because they're already playing a game. They're like playing the game of making money, or they're playing the game of acquiring fame, or they're playing the game of like, what are you trying to find a partner? But they don't really go back to like this base level zero of like, what am I doing with my conscious existence? And so, yeah, it's really like I'm trying to pull back the layers to the most fundamental aspect of our existence, what to do next.
But I think what I enjoy most about it, right, is like, yes, you have this whole elaborate setup and, everything like that. But what you're really doing is you're just showing by making changes, you can reverse the aging of your organs, right? And I think it's hard for a lot of people to really, I think, accept, because like, wait a second, am I really living if I'm doing all this and not being out there living? But they're missing it.
Yes.
They're missing
exactly.
it.
Exactly. So here's the key thing that I don't think people understand, which breaks their brains, is, I'll give a historical example that will help make sense of this. So if you live in the year 1870 and you're about to get surgery, you live in a small town and there's this new idea floating about that says there are these microscopic objects that are called bacteria. They lead to infection and death. And that you can get rid of these things if you wash your hands and clean your instruments before, between surgeries. Now, half the town's like, that's really crazy. We know that people die because of bad spirits. And you're telling me that something beyond the resolution of my eyes that I can't see, that's the thing that's causing death? I don't buy it. Now, if you're an observer to this conversation, the single most important thing for you to figure out is this new idea correct or incorrect? Because if it's correct, and you go in there, because at the time, gentlemen, so if somebody didn't buy the theory, if you're a doctor and you're performing surgery and you don't wash your hands, gentlemen don't wash their hands. It was actually stigmatized. It's like, you're an idiot and we don't like you. We're going to ostracize you. And so you want to know, and it turns out the idea was actually correct, that bacteria are real. These microscopic objects do cause infection. They can lead to death. And so doctors who were washing their hands and washing their instruments, they in fact did have lower mortality rates. And so I want to propose to the world right now that there is a new idea floating about town. And it's this, that we are the first generation who won't die. Now, if you sit in that contemplation for a minute, it's not that we actually know how to not die. It's that we're giving birth to AI, and the AI is moving fast, far faster than any one of us can contemplate. And that the incremental progress AI is going to make is going to slowly extend our lifespans, maybe until we get to a point where we just say, we really don't know if there's an end to this. Like, we can't quite see it. Like, we have all these abilities to regenerate our body. And so what I'm proposing is like, that's the moment. Now, up until this moment, the entire philosophy of the human race could be summarized in YOLO, LOL. If I'm going to die, like, I might as well blank. Like, I might as well conquer territory and try to, get rich. I might as well sacrifice my health to achieve fame. I might as well pursue debauchery and pleasure because blank. And so most of the world operates on this principle where they say, I'm going to die. Like, what does it matter? And I'm saying to them, like, you don't understand. There's this really new important question, and you really want to know if this is true or false. My mind's going a lot of different places when you're speaking about that. But the one particular place that I want to speak about is, to your point, the YOLO, right? We're going to go party. Yeah. We're going to go do all these things. We're going to work ourselves till we're miserable and not have enough space to be present with our families, et cetera, right? That's okay. Society accepts that. Society accepts seeing people on social media drinking, talking about porn, all this different stuff, but it's taboo to want to live longer? Yeah. How is that? I mean, right, Bryan? Like, come on, man. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how do you work through that, and how do you educate people on that specific point? Yeah, I do say that my life is bizarre because I basically spend my time telling people that dying is dumb, and I get called a weird motherfucker. Yeah. Like, well, dude, so, but for most people, like, it was even in your doc, like, The View was bashing you. Like, one lady is like, F you, Bryan. It's like, you're missing it. And I think what it did, though, Bryan, and I tend to look at things deeply. That's why I didn't miss that one statement in your documentary, is you remind people that they aren't doing the right stuff. I know, it's true. And it's a threat. Yeah. Especially to the medical industry, because we all know there's no gain, there's no profit in healthy people. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess there really could be, there should be, but you're right. I mean, I think I do empathize with people because I do remember being obese, and I also remember wanting to be healthy and wanting to be fit, and then having personal behaviors like overeating that, I couldn't stop. And that's a really bad feeling. And so this is in part why when people hate on me, it doesn't bother me at all. People are in a tough spot and they're trying to be their best selves. And that's really hard. It's very, very hard to be human. And then that it's especially hard now because every corporation, 90% of corporations out there are trying to get you to die, right? They're feeding you fast food. They're giving you addictive algorithms. The number of corporations and influences in your life who are trying to help you not die, you can count on one finger. That's just like, there's so few people who are actually like in your corner saying like, you can become a great, you can feel great. You can actually get your mental wellness under control. So I've tried to be that. I've tried to play that role for all of society of like, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to call out the insanity of like, this is stupid. Like this whole situation of the debauchery. It's stupid. We're all addicted to shit. We should stop doing it because it makes us sad. And corporations, stop being evil, motherfuckers. Like, stop. It's just like, it's ruining society. It's like, I've tried to be the counterweight to this cultural thing that just become so normal that we just can't see it anymore.
Yeah, I think what makes, I think beyond the obvious, your intelligence and the things that you're doing make you very appealing to the layperson is you've been overweight, Bryan. I look at things from you back in the day, over at Braintree Venmo before you sold to PayPal. It's like the dude doesn't even look the same. Like it's not even like a body issue, right? It's like the face, the hair, the skin, the everything. I think it would be important for the audience to maybe walk them through how you felt post Braintree to lead you to where you're at right now.
Yeah, it's like it's an omnipresent fog. You wake up in the morning and your head hurts. So it takes like 45 minutes to just get basic blood flow. And then like you feel okay. Let's just say you get an exercise, you get something done for 30 minutes and you're feeling okay. And then you kind of grapple with your first temptation where you're in a meeting and there's croissants and muffins and, whatever. And you're like, do I? And then lunch, you've got a brownie and chips and like breaded stuff. And then dinner, it's like, you just like start that process. And then all day long, it just kind of chips away. Then at night, you're just so worn out and you're mad at the life and you've had a fight with your partner, you've got something wrong with work and like whatever. And you just want to sit there and be a zombie because everything just hurts. Like life just hurts. And this is why, going back to your comment, Shawn, of why I said the most powerful thing I discovered was decision-making is better done with my body than my mind. Because what I do now, people think I live in some kind of dystopic reality, but what I basically said is that in the same way you plug an address in when you go to a location, because the navigation app is better at knowing traffic patterns and current traffic patterns and the path than yourself. The algorithm is going to make a better decision for my health than I can. It's going to be able to take into account more things. The algorithm is not going to fall prey to bad decision making. So I basically said, I want an algorithm to make decisions for me because when I do them, I can't do it right. I fail every single time. And so it's been such a relief. Like, honestly, it's the first time in my entire life I feel relief and I actually don't do things I don't want to do. I don't really want to do.
That's awesome. Because I'm listening to this and like when you say, you wake up in the morning, you have a headache, right? I overate on some stuff last night, Bryan. Exactly. I'm not going to lie to you. And I woke up this morning and I had a headache.
Exactly.
And I'm like, what the hell? And then I woke up and then I had my water, right? And then I had some black coffee and I just didn't want to touch food until later on in the day. And by that point, I'm underfed and then I'm not making the best decision moving forward. And I think that's the game that everybody's playing in society, is what one decision that you make at night really is going to impact how you feel in the morning and impact your decision making throughout the day. And then when it really hurts, and you've been there, and it's like at night when you have the decision fatigue, and that's when you fall off the rails. That's when you binge, and then you start the cycle over.
Exactly. So we actually proved this with evidence where my brain interface company, Kernel, we measured my willpower when I had a good night's sleep with a lot of deep sleep and when I didn't have bad deep sleep. And we saw that when I had poor sleep, like low levels of deep sleep, it demolished my willpower.
Was that because there's a high level of cortisol?
It changes when you don't sleep well, it changes all the chemistry in your body. That you crave junk. And so if you just pay attention to your own patterns, this is why I say that sleep is the number one life strategy. You should basically plan your life around sleep because nothing influences your life more than sleep. It creates this domino effect for all things. So actually, I'll give you some should I lay this out for you?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so for your listeners, like this is what I would tell you to do as your number one most important thing is you want to track your resting heart rate before sleep. So when you lay down to go to bed, put your head on the pillow, take a few deep breaths, and calm yourself down. That's your resting heart rate. And so if you have a wearable like an Oura, Whoop, Apple Watch, Garmin, pull it up and look at your heart rate. If you don't, just take a pulse on your neck. So take it for 6 seconds and then times that by 10. That's your resting heart rate. Now, let's just say you're at 60 beats per minute as your baseline. Your goal for the next month is to reduce that by 10%. So in 1 month from now, when you lay down to bed and you look at your resting heart rate, you want it to be, let's say 54. Now, the reason why that's important is the lower your heart rate, the better your sleep. It's incredible. And so you will then structure your entire life around lowering your resting heart rate. Now, the way you do this is you begin by having your final meal of the day at least 2 hours before bed. So if your bedtime's at 10, you stop eating at 8, all food. And then after a few days, you go back to 7 p.m. and then 6 p.m. and then 5. So you want to experiment going back further and further. You're going to experience some level of discomfort. You'll be a little hungry. That's okay. You'll be fine. I eat my final meal of the day around noon each day. So I read that somewhere. I do it for my resting heart rate. Because if I do it right, my resting heart rate before I go to sleep is going to be 44. And if I have a 44 resting heart rate, I'm guaranteed to have a perfect night's sleep. A lot of REM, a lot of deep, I'll be asleep within 2 minutes of bedtime. But if I eat at 5 or 6 p.m. and if I eat pizza or pasta, my resting heart rate will jump from 44 to like 56, 60. It will demolish my sleep. Like it would be an absolute wreck. So one is eat earlier, eat lighter. Number 2 is you need to have a wind down routine. So you need to calm your nervous system down. Like you may be really excited, you may be really sad, you may be frustrated, you may be angry. But I have this internal monologue every night where I talk to ambitious Bryan and anxious Bryan and dad Bryan, and they get to express all their concerns or ideas. I reassure them like I hear them. For fine, I write them down in a notebook, because if I don't, you lay down on the pillow and then you just sit there and ruminate. You loop through all your thoughts. And then you go to sleep, you wake up at 1 a.m, you're looping again and again. So there's more strategies I could tell you about, some other time, I guess. But like that, if you can do one thing in your entire life, lower your resting heart rate before sleep. And it's so good because it includes what you eat, when you eat. It includes your cardiovascular hip fitness, like exercise. And once you get good sleep, you then have substantially more willpower, which means you're more likely to exercise. If you exercise, you're more likely to eat well. So it's the single most powerful marker because it sits at the epicenter of the domino effect, either for positive or for negative. But it's like, I've not found anything as good as that, of like just simplifying all of life into one biomarker.
And you're not, giving advice that is, you don't have to be rich to do that. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be anything other than let's just stay present and let's try this. 8 p.m., now 7 p.m., now 6 p.m. And if I can get away at 5 p.m. and that's my sweet spot, well, then why wouldn't you continue it, right? Let me ask you this. This is something I was thinking about when I was, watching your documentary and just like other things that I've seen from you, based on body composition and everything like that. You stop eating at 11 and you're vegan by choice, correct?
Yeah, plant-based.
Okay, plant-based. How in the world, how do you hold so much muscle? I'm curious. I'm actually curious because I think and this is why I asked the question for the audience listening and watching. This is why I ask, because everybody tells us that you need to have, right now I'm 198 pounds. Well, if I want to gain all this muscle and shred fat, then I need to have 250 to 300 grams of protein a day. Well, I can't get that by 11 or even probably 4 or 5 p.m., right? Because that's a lot of protein. What are your thoughts on that? Because when I look at you, you're plant-based, there's no way in God's green earth you're getting over 200 to 250 grams of protein a day.
Yeah, exactly.
And look at you.
Yeah, I think my experience has been so much of cultural health ideas are just wrong. And, it's hard to know where they come from to trace back. But yeah, I mean, I'm plant-based. I eat roughly 130 grams a day of protein. I weigh 171 today. I'm in the top 1 percentile for muscle, top 1 percentile for fat, top 1 percentile of 18-year-olds for my cardiovascular ability. I'm in the top 1%. I mean, I have the best biomarkers of anybody in the entire world.
It's now freaking incredible.
Is I don't know, to be fair, there may be other people who have better biomarkers than me. They just haven't shown up. I've been publicly posting my data for 4 years. And it's not just one marker. I mean, it is everything from like basic strength to all my blood biomarkers, to my speed of aging, to my bone mineral density, to my sperm health, to my nighttime erections. You take any one of dozens of markers, they all say the same thing. It's just pristine health. And
that's amazing.
And so I guess we've really just followed evidence and we followed data. And so I don't think people need 250 to 300 grams of protein. I just don't think the majority of the things in the world. And also, I'm not on testosterone. So my latest read of testosterone was, I think, 739 or thereabouts. Mm-hmm. So I have almost top level testosterone levels, no exogenous testosterone. I'm 47 years old. So yeah, these are just doing the basics right, have these huge dividends.
When you say 130 grams of protein, if you don't mind me asking, what's your lean mass at what's your lean mass at?
I need to look at that number. I don't know.
I mean, it's high, right? I mean, obviously, but no, these are just things that I like to ask, right?
Yeah.
Because
my body fat is, I think, around 10% thereabouts.
You're at 10%?
Thereabouts, yeah.
You look like you're in single digit.
Yeah, it's probably 9-10%. I'm pretty lean.
Yeah, you're very lean. And is that including visceral and brain and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I have the actual visceral fat. I'm 1%. Yeah, I do MRI based measurements, so it's not on a scale.
Yep.
MRI is gold standard measurement. So yeah, it's I think, let me just tell you, I've got it right here.
It's just truly amazing, man. I'm very intrigued and very curious. And I think, when the audience is listening to this, as you're, and they're pondering while you're looking, this is great information, right? Because like you said, societal norms and certain things out there, the culture will tell you something that may not be correct.
100%. Honestly, I would say anything the internet says, don't do. Honestly, it's just it's so bad. So I'm 0.28 liters of visceral fat. So that means, let me do the conversion.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive, man. That's impressive. You know what happens when I eat a lot of protein? I get gout in my ankles.
Also, too much protein. So you're exactly right. Too much protein is really bad for you. Yeah. Wow. You really don't want, and it's such a strong cultural thing. But if you actually measure these things, you can see the negative effects in the body. So it's just it's where culture exceeds science.
It's my wife was saying, we're going to dive into his blueprint. My wife, she's all in it, man. She watched it with me, and I told her I was interviewing you today, and she was very intent of I think I want to dive into this. She goes, "Are you open?" I'm like, "Well, of course I'm open." I have 3 beautiful children and a beautiful wife. I want to be around. I'm 46. I'm roughly the same age as you, and I'm just now starting to get healthier again. And, when I look at you, I'm like, wow, that's something that's possible, in later in age, right? That I'm in. And I think there's a lot of people out there that even listening to the show right now can really get a whole lot out of it. Hey, wait a second. I can feel better. I can sleep better. I can look better, and I can live just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think most people will be pleasantly surprised if you just take the basic things of what I'm saying, which is make resting heart rate the most important marker of your life. That's going to drive your dietary habits. The thing that resting heart rate does, if it's so important, is most people are debaucherous between 6 p.m. and midnight. Right? Willpower's down. You're out with friends. You're in relaxation mode. You're trying to steal back the time that you've been all day long. That's when people commit most self-destructive harm. And so that resting heart rate is a check. against your worst behaviors. Because if you're optimizing for your resting heart rate, you can't eat the bag of chips. Because if you eat the bag of chips, it's going to spike your resting heart rate. So this is why, like, I would say, if you make that the most important goal of your entire life, you will make more money, you will be happier, you will be more successful in your business, your personal endeavors, you will be a better partner, you'll be a better parent. Like, it will make you better on every single dimension if you optimize that marker.
I think too, like I keep going back to this, but the wake up in the morning, right? I know when I'm eating super clean and I'm exercising a lot, that I'll wake up in the morning and I just jump out of bed and I'm good, right? What's the biggest difference? Like, I felt good waking up in the morning, but I'm very curious on how you feel when you wake up.
Yeah, so it's almost like, and others have told me they have a similar experience. It's like your consciousness expands. Like, life feels bigger. Emotions feel more rich. Negativity bothers you less. Things are more joyful. You feel greater curiosity. You have more creativity. It expands in dimensions that you just can't quite understand. So there's this idea of being healthy, but there's all these subtle things, like our food supply is very toxic, and toxins have a negative effect on health. We've tried to purge my food supply from toxins. And so it's not just about getting good sleep or exercising, but it's like also getting rid of toxins. And the air in my house is meticulously measured and purified. The water I drink is meticulously measured and purified. And so we've just tried to eliminate all sources of dye from everything in my entire life. And so those things have this compounded effect. Now, we've done this and we've shared with everybody exactly how they can do it too. So that's the cool thing. What we've done is we've open sourced everything I've done. All the good, all the bad, all the ugly, it's all there for everyone. So I've tried to really coach people, like, you can do this. Like, start with a basic habit. Don't get overwhelmed, you're fine. Let's start with one basic habit, the resting heart rate, and work your way back through food, work your way back through exercise. And then once you get those basics in place, then we can layer on more sophisticated things, fine. But right now, just get the basic things right. You can do this. Like, it will change your life. You're going to feel so much better about everything in reality.
I just feel like, Bryan, your mission in life right now is to show people how to gain a little bit more time, right? And, as a parent and a husband, I've said this on my show many times, and I've even said it here. I want to be around longer for my children. I want to see my daughters walk down the aisle. I want to hold my grandchildren. Hell, I want to be a great grandparent one day, right? And I think that too many people in the world have just accepted that this is just the way it is, and I'm going to die soon, and it is what it is. But we can reverse that a little bit, and I think that's all you're trying to prove.
Yeah, my speed of aging. So there's a new technology that's called DNA methylation. Your body produces these chemical patterns, and it reveals how fast or how slow you age. And so when I started this 4 years ago, I wanted health to be more than just storytelling. I wanted it to be a sport, because when you make things a sport and give it a leaderboard and points, humans go crazy. So I made the rejuvenationolympics.com. And so now there's 50,000 people who have competed in this competition, and 6,000 which are all out competitors. And I'm currently number one in this global competition. I have the lowest speed of aging of anyone in the entire world. It's 0.48 is my latest test. My 3-test average is 0.54. And so that means my birthday happens now every 24 months.
That's wild. That is wild. Because when you started it, out of 12 months, you aged 1.01 years, right?
Exactly.
And then you got down to, you were saying like, hey, November, September, like whatever, the last 3 months you get for free. Now you've exceeded that.
Exactly. Yeah. Now it's the body. I've slowed my body, my aging processes down dramatically. And this is, this gets real. Like if you tell somebody, you get twice as much life, to make money, for that money to compound, If wrinkles come twice as slowly, you're like, these are pretty compelling oppositions. Like you're saying, everyone wants more time to do the things they love. They want to feel great. And so by slowing down the speed of aging, disease comes slower, wrinkles come slower, you feel vibrant and healthy much longer. So these are very real effects. And so all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, 2025 culture makes people sad. Drinking and staying up late and eating junk food and trash food and not exercising, that's not living life. That's mental illness.
Come on.
What is cool
Come on.
is going to bed on time and exercising and eating well and being a good influence on people's lives. Don't eat junk food. Don't eat shit food. Don't vape. Don't smoke. Don't drink. So we need to switch the meaning of cool and living life. Humans are incredibly good at mirroring each other. So just like once you flip the switch, humans will fall in line. It's just like we're caught in this like terrible situation where being cool is like associated with this debaucherous lifestyle.
Impressive, man. Like I'm super intrigued by all of this, as you can tell. You're out there, you're touring, the world, right? And your Don't Die Summit, you're going to be in Miami soon. And I think it's an amazing way to give back and show people the resources, right? It's not just a keynote. You're up there on stage and then you bang out on your PJ afterwards. You're there, you're mixing it up, you're talking to people, and you're going to see the vendors. Why don't you walk the audience through the summit, man?
Yeah. I love these summits so much. I mean, like I really wish I would have had a friend in my life that would play this role for me, right? Like be on me. Like you can be better. You don't need to do these things. These things actually make you feel sad. So yeah, I really hope to be a positive influence in people's lives and meaningfully help them. Like so many of my friends, so many people have said to me that, like I went to grab the potato chips and like, I heard your voice and I didn't do it. I'm like, yes, like that's the whole thing is like, when we do this together as a community, it becomes so much easier.
It's because as I'm on this interview with you, this conversation, I'm thinking like, what can I implement, right? What can I, as far as the resting heart rate, the cutting back the meals to, from a later part, and then also taking the pressure off of me. I'm like, I don't need XYZ like everybody says. Like, let's make sure that we eat foods that don't have a lot of heavy metals, which I think is a big deal, right? As you mentioned, our food is toxic. And, with the sometimes I'll get the gout. That just shows that I got some heavy metals in my liver.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so I don't know the specifics on the cause of gout, but I mean, I think certainly, those things could potentially contribute. I'd say, Shawn, like if you just make your resting heart rate the single thing you focus on in life, it's going to arrest your bad habits. It will. It's like you just can't behave badly because it's going to mess with your resting heart rate. It's going to keep you accountable. If you do that one thing, you'll make more progress in your health than you probably any time in your entire life.
That's really cool, man. What do you, out of all the things that you mentioned, you've mentioned the Whoop, you've mentioned the Garmin, the Apple Watch, and the Oura Ring. What do you find as the best and safest indicator to use or method to use? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, on the resting heart rate, you don't even need a device. Just put your fingers on your neck, get your pulse. So that can be no tech. I'd say if anyone's going to do any measurement, I'd get a blood draw. So my company Blueprint, we offer a low cost blood draw. It's 115 markers thereabouts. But if you have it, most people don't get these on a routine basis. And most of the ones the doctors order are pretty narrow. So an annual blood draw is really good because you want to find anything majorly wrong early. And oftentimes, like most of people's complaints can be pointed back to something like maybe you're low in vitamin D or maybe you're low in whatever. So I do a basic blood draw. It's $350 at Blueprint. And there's 3,000 locations around the country. It's a really low cost, good way for someone to get a baseline of like, is there something wrong? And then find basic things you can try to improve.
Walk me through the Blueprint, right? So when I go to your website, right, the Blueprint, and we'll put that link in the show notes, and I go on that link and I see a bunch of different options, right? I see, the olive oils, and I see what Bryan uses, and then I see some other things. If you were to steer somebody there right now, so let's say you say, hey, Shawn, I need you to go to the website today, and this is what I want you to pick up that's going to help make an impact in your life and your health immediately, what would that be?
3 things. I would get the Blueprint Stack, which is basically the protein, the olive oil, and 8 pills. And then I would do an advanced blood draw for basic check, and I would do speed of aging. And those 2 measurements plus that routine, it gets you, the Blueprint Stack gets you like 70 health interventions. And so the way we did it is every single ingredient had to fight for its life to be included. So it has to have some kind of clinical evidence that it's actually good for you. And then we third-party test it, and then we share the third-party results. So it's just like I eat Blueprint myself. Like everything I consume is Blueprint. So you're doing exactly what I'm doing when you do this. And so I do this because I trust Blueprint more than I trust any brand, because I see the process of sourcing, testing, I see the results. Whereas we've tested everything else. I can tell you, like, it's wild out there. Like, it is really not safe. So so I do the Blueprint Stack, get 2 tests, and then you start adding on more things. Like you could add some collagen peptides, you could add some creatine. We have those. Everything's third party tested. So yeah, we're trying to solve for, if you want to be on a Blueprint lifestyle, we can satisfy all your calories on a daily basis.
And in that, right, in that Blueprint, is there some type of nutritional advice, like eat this, or is it that's what you're consuming is within the Blueprint? So
on the Blueprint website, I have a protocol section where I just detail every single thing I do every day. So from the moment I wake up, I parse it out like every 15 minutes and just include everything. I include all my supplements. I include all my recipes, all my protocols. So I've tried to make this really easy. I think we're now trying to like make it super simple, where like we're now working on this version where we say, all right, you wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, and this is how. And then we just walk you through your entire day. And then you can pick and choose what things you want to do and what don't want to do. But we're trying to just say, like, if you want to turn off, like, if you want to just say, like, I'm doing it, we'll give you the instructions on every step of through the entire day.
That's pretty awesome. And just to be clear to the audience, and I want you to tell them, right? Because they'll go and they'll look you up, right? If they don't already know you, and they'll go watch the documentary and they'll be blown away, and they'll look at all the equipment in your house and all of the, you basically have a clinic, stacked up there, right? And then they're going to immediately go, well, I can't do that and give up. What would you tell them when they think that?
So you, I would say just do 2 things. Get the Blueprint Stack. It has a lot of foundational stuff you need for health and wellness. So think of it as like a longevity stack where it's foundational for your health. And then I'd say watch, live life according to your resting heart rate before bed. Just do those 2 things. But don't tackle other bigger problems. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just do that. And then once you get those, like once you're like, there's a power that comes along when you start eating well, like you're doing things that are positive for your health. There's this psychological boost of like, you know what? I'm doing something. And then you can bridge that into saying, now I'm going to do the resting heart rate thing, which means I can't eat late. I can't snack late. I can't drink late. I can't, even if like if you're playing games on your phone, that's going to raise your heart rate. So just getting yourself in check, like those 2 things get started, and then you'll find that you'll get into this nice positive loop where they'll become habits. And then you'll say, all right, I'm ready for my next thing. And so then you just make new life habits. Because right now, you already have habits. They're just not the ideal habits. You're just replacing bad habits with good habits, and just one step at a time doing it.
Yeah. My wife and I, and she's gonna listen to this and watch this episode, and she's gonna hold my feet to the fire, because I'm that notorious idiot that likes to fall asleep with the TV on.
Oh yeah.
I know, okay. Dude. I know you're looking at it. You should see in your face, dude. You're like, oh, you, buddy. Yeah, no, that's it though. She's like, I don't want to. I'm like, well, that's how I fall asleep, right? So for me, it's like, okay, well, maybe reading a book, maybe even like starting to use that as a nighttime routine to settle into going to bed early.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I would invite you to do. I think, Shawn, this would change your life. So tonight, try to turn off all screens 30 minutes or an hour before bed. Yeah, you choose. Okay. And in that 30 to 60 minutes, you'll go for a walk, read a book, do some breath work, talk to a friend. I love reading a book. It's the best thing. Read the book for like 10 minutes just before bed, but no screens for an hour, book a 10 minutes book before bed. And I bet you, and then have your final meal at say like 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. Is that okay? What time zone are you on?
It's 5:30 now. So yeah.
Were you planning on, so are you eating dinner right now?
No, I'm not eating dinner. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I planned on it, but I probably won't get home until 7.
Okay. All right. So maybe tomorrow, but do those 3 things. And then later in the week, if you can, add some red light. Just buy a red light bulb and screw it in. So just put red light on in your house instead of house lights. So you're in red light for 30 minutes before bed. That's like the vibe of the house.
Okay.
Red light, read a book, no screens. It will change your life.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the point though. I want the audience, you guys listening, these are not monumental changes. They're decisions. Yeah. They're choices, right? How bad do you want to do these things? And for me, those are things I can commit to. I can commit to reading a book. I can commit to going and does it have to be a specific red light or just any red light?
It's just a red light. Yeah.
Just a red light.
Just red light. Yep. Visible red light.
Go get a red light from the hardware store. Boom. Exactly. Pop that bad boy in the ceiling fan. You're rocking and rolling.
Yeah. And then again, a book in hand. A physical book in your hand. 10 minutes. Just do it 10 minutes. And
10 minutes.
Tomorrow, you'll wake up the next morning, you'll say, oh my God, life is so amazing. I feel great. It's going to be such an immediate effect.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much, man, for coming on and, talking about everything that you're doing with the, with Don't Die and the summit and just everything you're trying to do. Really, truly, people kind of mess with you and say it's a cult. You're like, hey, I'm creating a cult of going to bed early. This is cool.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And it's funny to me, but also I want to touch on something that, as a parent, the one thing that I really enjoyed about watching in your journey was you and Talmadge. I can't even imagine, my son or my daughter's going away to college right now because they're so young, but I really enjoyed watching that journey with you guys and you getting that 160 days with him before he went off to college. What was that experience like for you?
I think we all want deep, fulfilling relationships. And despite that, I think nearly 40% of American adults report chronic loneliness. So there's 300 plus million of us in the US alone, 8 billion of us on the planet. Yet despite that, people feel deep loneliness. And I understand relationships are hard and it's hard. As I never imagined that my son would be my most fulfilling relationship, that he and I would pal around in life and just understand each other and just kind of do life together. And it really has been an absolute highlight of my life that we have so much fun together and it's just so natural and easy. There's just no effort required. So it's really a pleasant surprise and a peak life highlight.
The thing that I really enjoyed is that he was getting in it with you. He was like, he at one point is like, hey, can I go get my pills now? Can I do this? And you could just see the connection there between the two of you. And don't worry, man, I would cry in a Target too. Brother, I'm that guy. Don't worry, man. I probably have. But again, man, thank you so much for coming on. I truly enjoyed having this conversation with you. I would love to keep the communication open with you and continue to learn from you and all that good stuff, man. You're doing big things, and I appreciate you.
Thanks, Shawn. I really enjoyed hanging out with you. Thanks.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. It was great. So for the audience, I need you guys to do me a quick favor. I need you to drop a comment here in YouTube or on Spotify, and tell us what you really enjoyed about the episode. But more than anything, please share it with someone that you know, love, and trust that wants to have a better life, improve their longevity, and be around their people a little bit longer. And until next time, stay determined.
Shawn French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time, I confirmed it. A whole society determined.